Welcome to Potter's Pod, the official Stoke City podcast. On this episode, the Stoke City right back, Junior Tchamadeu. Junior, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. Now, what I usually start with is a series of questions, but I've already spoken to you about this, and I know you are actually a fan of the podcast.
Yeah, I am. Thanks for having me. And happy to be on now. So look forward to it.
Good. I usually have to try and get as much information out of the guests and make them pretend that they listen to the podcast. But being as I know you have done, this is where you say how much you enjoy it. And obviously you get to learn so much about your teammates and all that kind of stuff. Feel free to be gushing is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I've watched Andy's one. I haven't watched Ali's one yet. But yeah, I enjoy watching Andy's one. It's quite interesting. I learned new things about Andy that he didn't tell me. So it's a good way to learn about your teammates that you're with every day.
And this is probably from an egotistical point of view, but is it a big discussion in the change room talking about this podcast? A lot of players talking about it? Just say yes, even if it's not true.
Yeah. Every day, like
really? Yeah,
it's
okay.
The first thing we speak about when we come in. Who's going to be on the podcast next? And luckily it's me.
Love it. We usually go at this point to talk about family, but we will come on to that. But I don't want to be predictable, Junior. I want to spice it up. There's a couple of things we need to talk about before we really get into it. And there's not really any rules on this. The only thing that I ask is, as you will know, is that I promise I won't ask any cliched questions if you promise me you won't give any cliched answers.
No, yeah, we can agree on that.
Is that okay?
That's cool, yeah.
You can call me up on it, as we've said before. If you say, Rob, no, that's too cliche, I'm not having that. You don't even have to answer it. You can just bat it away and just move on. So I'm giving you the empowerment to do that as well.
Cool.
Is that all right? Fantastic. If I were to pay you a compliment now, what would be the best compliment I could pay you?
Compliment? Best compliment? Just, I don't know, I'm a handsome man.
Is that what it'd be?
That's what it'd be. Yeah. I don't know. Compliment.
Is it anything about being honest or being a committed person or anything like that?
Yeah, a committed person. That's actually a good one. Committed to the people I love, the things I love. So yeah, committed person, I'll take that.
That really does come across when you're on the pitch, because we will come on to this and talk all about your time at Stoke and what you're enjoying at the moment later on. But I think if there's one thing that fans that listen to this will agree with, is that you are committed.
Yeah, I'd like to say I'm committed as well in everything I do, to be honest. I feel like on and off the pitch, I feel like it's one of the most important things in life, not just football as well. So to be committed to the thing you love, give 100% in what you want to do. I feel like it reflects obviously on the pitch and in just everyday life. So I think commitment's a big thing for me, and it always has been, really. So I feel like if someone says that about me, then I'm doing something right, to be honest.
We'll get to the football in a second. Let's start by talking about your childhood. Tell me about your family.
Okay, so I'm a family of 7. I've got 3 sisters, an older brother, 2 younger sisters and 1 older sister. So I'm the middle child. I grew up in Barking, East London. Lived there up until now, basically. I'm still in the borough. So for 21 years I've been in Barking. So my childhood was fun. I did the ordinary stuff, play out with friends, the local park. Also, I used to play a lot of FIFA with my older brother when I was at home. Them days, I used to, he'd beat me and I used to cry and stuff like that. But them days are over now. I'd go as far as to say I'm probably at FIFA one of the best around. Yeah.
Big claim.
Yeah, big.
There's going to be a lot of people watching this. You can't just shut that down and then just walk away from it.
The thing is that I really back this point. And yeah, went to, my primary school was Gascoigne Primary School. And then my secondary school. My first one was All Saints Catholic School in Dagenham, not too far from where I live now. And then I was there for 2 years. And then I went to Harris Academy in Greenwich. That school was linked with Charlton, which was obviously my first academy. And then I was there up until obviously the end of school. I didn't actually do GCSEs because I was the COVID year that just got predicted grades. So I think I was lucky, to be fair. I got good grades.
You dodged it.
Yeah, I don't know what I would have got if I actually did the GCSEs. But so my childhood was fun. Like, I enjoyed them. I look back at it now and think that I do miss kind of being obviously younger, but everyone that grows older, innit? So
1 of 7.
Yeah, we've got a big family as well. And then obviously my mum's there, my dad. It's like they were obviously, I'd say they were strict, but like I said, that's probably where I get my discipline from and commitment from my parents. They, like with school and education and stuff, they were always like hard on that, which I think it was the best thing for me and for all my siblings, to be honest. So and it's paying off now. So I look back at that and I thank them a lot as well for like what they've done for me and what they're continuing to do now. Like when my dad can, he can come. He comes up to games. When my mum can, she comes up. So it's always nice to obviously have them, and I'm fortunate to obviously still like have them around and they keep supporting me. So I make the most of like when I have days off, going back down to London, spend time with them. So that's good.
Your younger sister still goes to All Saints, doesn't she?
Sorry?
Your younger sister still goes to All Saints?
Yeah, my youngest one, she's 14, so she still goes to school. And then my older sister is obviously at uni, and my other younger sister is at uni as well.
What's it like being the one that's gone on to be a professional footballer in that family?
It's good because football's what I've been doing since I was maybe 4 or 5, so it's like at that age I was maybe like playing for fun in a way, but then as I got older and I've started to feel like now I've got more of a responsibility to look after my family, and it's a good responsibility and it's one that I like happily take on, to be able to say like, okay, I can provide kind of for my family, and it's what they deserve. Like my sisters, my brother, my parents, they all deserve that, and I'm just happy to kind of be able to do that for them. Your
brother's quite protective on social media, I've noticed. He seems like he likes to be your biggest fan as well.
Yeah,
it's quite nice.
He is, and all my family are, to be fair. Obviously, it's one of them, like, I wouldn't want them to get too much into it, just because, like, at the end of the day, it's the sport. It's the sport I play. It's my job, really, so they're going to be people that criticize me. So, but at the same time, he's my older brother, so he's always going to look after me, look out for me. So obviously, I always appreciate that. But,
The reason why I bring that up is because I love to see it when like your brothers and sisters like stick up for each other and all that, when they're really protected, but also being your biggest fan. It's just really nice to see.
Yeah, it was lovely, to be honest, and that's how we grew up. We've always been so close, like us as siblings. So that will never really go away. And no matter like how big I get, how well I'm doing in football, they'll always be there to protect me. Even my youngest sisters, they're always protecting me and stuff like that. So it's good to know that I've kind of got that that support and that kind of those people behind me. And it'd be the same with my parents if they're on social media, but it's probably a good thing they're not.
And just to be clear, because I imagine your brother will be watching and listening, you would beat him on FIFA now?
Yeah, 100%. No, 100%, yeah. 100%.
And would he, obviously, we need to give the right to reply, so if he disagrees, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, if he's being honest, he'd say I'd beat him.
And it's important to be honest.
No doubt about that, yeah.
You mentioned All Saints School. Am I right in thinking that you won the Essex County Cup in year 12?
Yeah. Year 12?
Yeah, sorry, not year 12. So when you were 12, you were like 8 years old?
Year 7,
so year 8,
year 7, yeah, I remember that. I scored in the final, no?
You did?
Yeah, I did, yeah. How do you know? No, but yeah, Yeah, I remember that game. It was actually me and my best friend. One of my best friends scored. We both scored in that game. Yeah, I played striker. Yeah. See, them days, like, football was just free, you know, at that age. Year 7, you just play for fun. Because at that time, I wasn't allowed to play school football. Because I was at Charlton at the time. So I didn't really want us. I had to get like permission from my dad. Sometimes I remember once, if my dad's watching this, he'll probably think. But I think I said to him, like, at the after school club activity, then I went and played a match. And then...
It's technically true.
Yeah, but he made it clear that football was not allowed. And then, I went and played this game. It actually may have been this game. Maybe. And then, I went and played and then, scored. And then, got home. He was like, where you been? I just said, I think I said dodgeball or something like that. Asked me, are you sure? And then I knew, like, he knew it. And then I just had to give in and say, nah, I went to a game. I actually said I didn't play. That's it. I said I didn't play. And then, he just kind of let it go. But I think deep down he knew that I'd gone to play. And it was like, it's at that age, it's like, I know I'm not allowed, but because I want to play, it's like play with your friends as well from school. It's a good feeling, and they're good times. And I feel like at that age, you got to make the most of them opportunities. Because as you can like tell now, the older you get, it's the more serious it gets, and you don't really have that time to kind of mess around in a way and play with your friends as much as you'd like to.
That win made the paper as well, didn't it? Winning that cup.
Yeah, it did. I remember. That was maybe my first time like seeing myself in the newspaper. Yeah, I felt proud, man.
What do you think the teachers and the people involved with that team would have said about you? Do you think they'd have said, oh, he's going to go on and play professional football?
I think that's a good question. I'd say, honestly, I'd say maybe if you asked them, they probably would have kind of guessed that. I feel like, because at the time I was at an academy, so I was maybe like ahead of my schoolmates naturally. So I think they would, if they were to obviously choose people, they would have sent me purely based on the fact, obviously, I was at an academy. But I feel like my character as well within that school football team was like kind of one of like a leader in a way. And obviously playing for an academy, that plays a big part as well. So I'd say, to answer your question, I think they probably would have said that. I would have if you were to ask them then.
Yeah, I did ask them.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Do you want to hear what they said?
Yeah. Who did you ask?
You'll find out in a minute.
Oh.
Hi Junior, this is Mr. Siver from All Saints Catholic School. Just wanted to jump on here and let you know how proud I am of your achievements as a footballer. You're probably the best footballer to come out of the school in the last 15 years. I still remember that goal you scored in the SS Cup final to win us the cup in year 8. I followed your journey from Charlton to Colchester and now to the massive football club of Stoke. Keep working hard and doing us all proud at All Saints Catholic School. I always ask your sister at school how you're getting on and seen your dad a few times popping into school. Would be nice for you to come back in one day to inspire the next generation. Keep going, mate. Well done.
Oh, my guy, Mr. Silva. I remember him, man. He was one of my favourite teachers at the school. Obviously, it was a PE teacher, so that was one of my favourite subjects. So, no, it's nice to kind of know and hear from him, because he also watched me grow up. So, and I used to like train with him out of school as well, like on a Monday night. So it's nice to obviously hear that type of thing as well. It's good.
There he is.
I look angry.
So for people that are listening and not watching, that's the photograph that we've just been talking about. Do you want to explain that photograph? So you just won the cup at that point, had you?
Yeah, just won the cup. I scored this game 2017.
Yeah.
It's like 8 years ago. Yeah,
He
I don't
wanted,
look too happy. Yeah.
he wanted to let you know that that photograph was when he had hair. He said, "I haven't got hair anymore."
Oh, he's bald now.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go see him.
Can we go down as like a Potter's Pod exclusive and come with you when you go back to your old school?
Feel free.
That feels like a full circle moment to me,
Yeah, it
Junior.
will be.
That feels like we're
Feel
making a
free,
difference.
Nah, these are good times. Man.
So you were saying that was the first time seeing yourself in the paper. What was that like? You touched on it a few minutes ago, but what was it? Let's talk about it a bit more.
I feel like I felt at the time I was like, how do I say it? Like, you kind of, it's like you've got a kind of feel for it or a taste of it early on. So it's like, and you obviously read about professional footballers at the time that were obviously older, and you see them in the paper. So it's like, now there's a possibility, there's a chance for me to get to that kind of stage, get to that kind of level, and it doesn't just come like that. It comes through like hard work, commitment, discipline, which is what I've got to maintain throughout however long I play football for, and that's always something that's stuck with me. And I feel like that's credit to the people around me, my dad, my parents especially, obviously my mum, and who have never who have always kept me on the same and the right path to becoming a footballer. And I feel like without their support, I don't think I'd like kind of be the player that I've kind of become. And that's why I'm so grateful for them, and I'm grateful to obviously have them around now to keep me on that same track. Because like, I don't know, there could be some people that they can get to this level and kind of forget about what got them here and who the people around them that got them here, the people that guided them. But I can't do that to the people around me, and like, they'll always give me their support. They'll always put me before them, which is why I appreciate them a lot. And I feel it's my duty to kind of repay them for what they've done. So it all comes down to commitment and discipline, to be honest, which is a big thing for me.
What was it like growing up in Barking?
Barking. It was, for me, like, I loved it, like genuinely loved it. Like sometimes like, when I'm in London, I would drive past like where we used to live, and obviously they've knocked down the buildings and stuff, but it was just like so stress-free being young. And I remember I used to play out with my friends, there was so many games we used to play, like run-outs, Kirby.
Classic. Kirby's a classic, isn't it? Spans a generation to Kirby. If you're 65 or 80 listen to this, you know what?
Yeah, no. What else? We used to play a game called chess, but we were football. Because like, there was a little park where there were like fences. It was in the shape of like an octagon, the park. And then everyone had to choose a fence. And then I used to play with my older brother and his friends, and like, I'd get the ball blasted at me, go home crying, stuff like that. But I look back at the time when I was younger, and it was just like in Barking, it was just fun. Like, everyone like knew each other and stuff like that. And obviously it was I'd say kind of rough area as well, like the estate I was from. But like I said, some of my friends, they obviously went like the wrong way, but I'm grateful for my parents, the people around me that kept me on the right path and kept me focused, helped me stay committed and stuff like that. So, but as a whole, Barking living there was very good.
Okay. So, growing up in Barking, overall a good experience, and then you were within about, was it 11 years old when you got in at Charlton?
Yeah, signed for Charlton at 11. That was surreal, to be fair. Before that, I was.
Did that make it feel a bit real? Because you've gone from playing with football with your mates to being at an academy.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like at that time, signing for an academy is probably, you feel kind of on top of the world at that age. Coming from like Sunday League, when I first like found out I was getting signed, I was just happy. I was in year 6, I remember, and little things like my the head teacher at the time, like she came to me and like made me star student and stuff like that. So it was like I really felt, I just felt happy, and I felt like this was a start, like maybe probably a start of my journey to becoming a professional footballer. And it's that at that point when you're in the system, you're kind of like, okay, you're still, obviously, there's not too much going on in your mind because you're still 11 years old, but like you see the pathway because you're obviously in the building. You go to ball boy games now. You go to watch the first team, and then when you're watching the first team, like my dad's there saying like, this can be you one day, and you got to work hard to be in their shoes, like, and that gives you that kind of drive to say, and I feel like a switch in your mind kind of flicks now, and it's like, okay, you're in the system now, so like there's a possibility now. That's kind of the first part done to get into an academy, and now you've got to start to progress.
Is it only now you realise the commitments that your mum and dad would have made just to get you to those, you know, like the training and all those different events? It's now when you look back and you think, they must have spent so much time just taking me to those things.
100%. And like, I remember when I was on trial, like little things, I was on trial at Charlton. I don't think my dad had a car at the time, so we used to take train from East London. Like I'd finish school, sometimes he'd take me out of school a bit early. Then we'd have to take the train all the way to that thing was like New Eltham, go London Bridge, then to New Eltham. And then one time, like, we arrived at training when the session was done. And I'm a trialist at this point. But my dad's like, at the time he's left work early to come pick me up, and we still made it late. We missed the whole session. So, and I felt obviously a type of way, kind of embarrassed at the time. But at the time I was angry at my dad, and obviously he was annoyed for me type of thing, and he feels like it was his fault. But I would look at that situation and now I feel like he did everything. Like, I can't fault him at all. Sometimes my mum would take me when she had to look after my little sisters when my dad was busy working. So it was like they sacrificed a lot to get me kind of to that stage to get signed, and that's why like I look back at it and they did a lot, and I'm so grateful for them always.
When you said that, I thought to myself, if there's 5 children and you're going on trial to these places, you're going to Charlton, it's a lot of time commitment, and also how bad your dad must have felt.
Oh yeah, I could tell. Like I can remember that day clearly, and I remember like his face and how he felt like the journey back as well, because I couldn't.
He'd be blaming himself all the way. He thinks he's ruined your career.
Exactly, and it was like I look back at it and think he did so much. Like both my parents did so much for me to get to Charlton, and they sacrificed so much of their time to give me the best platform they could, and that's the biggest reason why I'm here now on this podcast.
You left Charlton at the age of 16. Yeah. We hear a lot, especially when it comes to at the end of the football season, about players that get released, especially at that younger age. What was that like for you?
Honestly, it's probably, I'd say it was probably the lowest point of like my career so far. And I say that because like at the time I thought Charlton was like kind of all I knew. Obviously I was there from 11 years old all the way through to 16. And so, like I said before, I went to Harris Academy, which was the school linked with Charlton. So at that time, I was the only one in out of everyone that went to that school that didn't get a scholarship. So everyone had a scholarship. And I feel like that was probably the hardest thing, because obviously I knew they told us our decision when December time. So I've still got from January till July at that school, like training, but knowing that not going to be part of the club the next school year, the next year. So it was hard, and little things like there'll be because we're under 16s at this point, so there'll be a under 17s game. They'll be come out of school, and obviously they were who I spent time with like every day during school, so break, lunch. So I actually never really socialized with other people that much. So it was like when they were out of school, I'd be with people that I never really like spoke to like that in school, which is probably was bad on my part in a way, because like I was only associating myself with the Charlton boys.
But you're going to though, because that you spend all your time with that.
Yeah,
so
of
it's what's
course,
gonna
but
happen.
I do think at the same time, because you don't want to do that, and then like in my situation, then when they're not there, try and like speak to other people, and it's like, oh, but when they're back, you'll be back with them. You see what I mean? But then that's kind of what happened, and it was one of them that I was lucky. I was like good, cool with a few of other boys from my school. So then, but yeah, just like they'd go be out of school playing football. I'll be in like geography. Like I hated geography. That was the worst subject for me. And I'll be in there just thinking like, I wish I had got a scholar and stuff like that. And it was tough. It's one of them like, when they told me, I saw it coming in a way. And I wouldn't necessarily say it was because of my ability. I don't think it was that. I just feel like at that time, how do I say it? Like, I just feel like I wasn't a lot of people's cup of tea, basically. And whether that was down to me, I don't know. But again, in football, it happens. Like, not every manager's gonna like you as a player or even as a person. But one thing I made sure was that my character was good and positive. And then, but at that age, again, it is difficult to like maintain like the right headspace in terms of like.
At 16 years old, if you thought that from what you've been saying, right, I'm in Charlton now, the next step is this, next step is this.
Yeah, exactly.
You think your life's mapped out in front of you, and then all of a sudden, it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Your head must have been all over the place at 16.
Yeah, especially obviously going to the school. So I left All Saints to go to that school, and it was never a guarantee that you'll get a scholarship. Don't get me wrong, but going to that school, you kind of feel like, okay, they've selected you to go to the school, so you're in a better position almost than a lot of the other players at your age group. So that was tough, obviously, coming into school, like getting picked up and stuff, knowing that again, you don't feel really wanted, and like your teammates are going to play games, you're not. On the weekend, on a Saturday, like you're not playing, like you're on the bench and stuff like that. And I was someone that was always confident in my ability. I always knew, like, and to this day I still believe I'm a like good player. So at that time, I felt like I didn't deserve to be in that position, but it happened. And again, that's why I always come back to like my support, my parents, the close people around me. They kept like my head up. But even like my own parents, they were hurting as well. Like I remember the journey on the way back, and like my dad was distraught, and like I felt like I let him down almost. And as much as he was hurting, he kept saying like, this is football. Like it happens, it can happen to anyone. It's about, like, it's cliche, but it's about how you bounce back and how you react to these type of things. He always told me to like keep praying because we're a religious family, and that's what I did. Kept praying, I kept training, and yeah, I ended up going on a few trials.
Did you go to Tottenham? Sorry, I interrupted there.
I went to Tottenham first. That didn't work out. I wasn't there for too long, and then I went to Oxford. Oxford was good, I actually enjoyed it there. They invited me for a trial game. I remember it was like QPR. I had a good game then. I was there for maybe 4 weeks. To be fair, at that, I thought I was getting a contract. Like I was confident. Then I actually remember one morning I was going on the way to school, so I was getting picked up. And at this point, it was like time was like dragging, and they hadn't given a decision yet. So my dad was kind of like messaging one of the coaches or the academy manager at the time, saying like, what's the decision? Like, is he going to get a scholarship or not? And then just before I've left to go to school, they've replied and they've gone like, we're not offering him a scholarship. And he's told me this. he probably told me at the worst time, because like the minibus is outside of about to take me to school, to the place where I've not got a scholar and I've not been offered at Oxford. So my head was all over the place that day. I remember I just wanted to stay at home. I actually asked him, like, can I just stay at home? He was like, no, just go to school. Like, the least I can do, he said, the least I can do was make sure my education was right. Because again, like, football, he said, from then he was saying football was a short career. Even until now, he's saying, like, you got to make sure, like, you're doing something on the side, which is what I'm trying to do. So he said, like, football's a short career, so you have to make sure, like, that is right. And then on the side, keep working as well. So that period was, from getting released at Charlton, that period was very tough. But I was grateful that Colchester came, and I actually don't know how they contacted. To this day, I don't know how. I feel like my dad just got an email asking for me to come in. Then I've gone in. I knew a few boys at the time I went in, so that was like nice. I felt comfortable kind of straight away. It was obviously different to Oxford, where I knew no one, and it was quite far. Like, my dad would take the train. We'd go to Oxford, he would take the train back, leave me in digs and stuff like that. He'll make his way to games as well when I was on trial, so he was always there supporting me no matter what. And yeah, so I ended up going on trial to Colchester. That was good. And again, like, I look back and think, like, it's amazing at how much my dad sacrificed, my mum sacrificed. Like, my mum and dad would leave, obviously my younger sister's at home with my older sister. And she wasn't too, like, that old at the time, obviously. So she would leave them with my brother, and they'll both come and pick me up early from school. They would bring a note saying that I had a doctor's appointment, and then have to take me all the way, drive from South London to Colchester on like a Tuesday night. And this is in year 11 when I've got GCSEs as well. So I'd be doing, like, in the back of the car, like, finishing off my intervention work and stuff like that. They drive me all the way to Colchester, stand in the cold. Then obviously I have to drive all the way back home to London. Before I go to bed, I'd have to finish my work and then go to bed, be up early to go to school again. And they did that every week. And I was grateful that I got offered. And that was down to their sacrifice as well, because I know, like, there's a lot of people whose parents might not have that time, or like might not be willing or able to, like, sacrifice their time like that. So, like, I always like to think I was in a great position compared to other people, regardless of the situation I was in, like, football wise, because my parents would do anything to help me, to help my siblings as well. And, like, it's that type of stuff that makes you, like, emotional and just want to give back to them so much. And that's what I try to do all the time.
No disrespect, but I think we should get your dad on this podcast.
He'd love it. He'd love it.
This is the reason why I love this podcast so much, is because people see their favourite team, and they'll go on a Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Saturday and Sunday, and they see the players on the pitch and they'll have an opinion, but they don't know the fan dynamics that got them to there, because you're the middle child, so your younger siblings have got to move their time around to make sure that you're sorted. Your older siblings are thinking, why is he getting all the attention? Because I've got to sort this out. No. I'm having to run around to make sure he gets a career. And at 16, you get released and you're thinking, what's going on? I thought this was always going to happen.
Exactly.
Your mum and dad have spent years saying, he's been at Charlton since he was 11 years old. So they've got their friends going, how's Junior getting on? Is it all okay? Yeah. Then all of a sudden, it's for all intents and purposes, up until the Colchester point, it's all done.
Yeah, no.
And you're like, what was all that for?
Exactly that. And obviously, to their friends that I was known as, like, Junior, who plays for Charlton.
Exactly.
And then,
it's your identity, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And, like, when I've got released, if they're asking the same questions, like, I wouldn't say embarrassed, but it's like, they're like, you don't want to talk about it, exactly. And I feel like my mum especially went through kind of that phase where maybe people were asking her and she just didn't want to, like, say really, but, like, I accepted it. Obviously, the first maybe few weeks was obviously hard for me, like, going into school and stuff like that. But at one point, I just said, okay, like, this is reality. Like, I'm not the only one in this situation, and I've just got to work. Like, I believe in myself so much, and I feel like that's one thing about me where I believe in myself a lot, and I won't let a bad situation like get on top of me. I've learned from being in that situation where I got released that it's not the end of the world, and I feel like that's something that would definitely like mold me. That has molded me into kind of the player and person I am now, to be fair.
What I love is the distance between all that happening and then making your debut for Colchester. It ain't that long, is it?
Do you know, that was the craziest thing. Like, I must say myself that...
Because you were 16, weren't you?
Yeah,
Colchester.
I think that was crazy, to be honest. And how it all came about itself was like mad to me. Also, if we fast forward to, I've been offered at Colchester, so we'll go into pre-season. Obviously, I'm a first-year scholar, and I was always someone that always wanted to get better. And I feel like if you asked any of the coaches, like from my youth team at Colchester, they'd say the same thing. So I was always like asking them after training, like, what can I do to get better, to do extras and stuff like that. And
didn't you used to text, was it Matt Bloomfield, about when you could go in on a Sunday to look at your clips? Yeah,
that was, obviously he came a bit later. But yeah, at the beginning as a first year, I was just always trying to, you know, find how I can get into the 23s at the time, and just kept working at stuff that to try and be obviously better than whoever was in my position in the ages above me. Because at the end, I feel like they're my competition. Not obviously the people that was in my position in the same age group. I feel like obviously the players in the year above us who I'm trying to be better than, or essentially trying to take their place, really. And that was my mentality. So I kept that throughout my time as a scholar, and I feel like 6 months in, I'd broken into the 23s. So I was playing 23s regularly. And then it was like on a Wednesday, obviously in December, I get a message from like the first team sports scientist, because I actually knew him from Charlton, so I had his number. Anyways, he said that I was training with the first team on a Thursday. Like, I remember this day, I was in digs with one of my friends, and the message come through. I just jumped out of bed, like, all happy. And then obviously the first person I called my parents. I told them.
I'd be disappointed if you didn't.
No, I called my parents straight away. They were buzzing. They were so happy. It was one of them. For them, it was like they suffered and sacrificed so much for me, and then to see me like having the opportunity to train first team was like the best feeling for them. So I feel like I wanted to tell them straight away, and also I told a few of my like close friends. And then the Thursday session, I remember we were in the dome at Colchester, and I trained well. Like, I think everyone was looking at me thinking like, who's this kid they've never seen before, because my first session. Then I had a good session. Then the Friday was obviously match prep, as we do now. So it was a light session, just small-sided games, again in the dome. And then Saturday we had, I remember it was Grimsby. This was the first game that fans were allowed back in after COVID. So we were going to have 1,000 fans, it was. I think only 1,000 were allowed in. So I'm in the squad. The list has come out, I'm in the squad, but there's I've counted the players, and there was, it would have been maybe 20 or 19. But at this point, I'm like happy to be 19th man. Like, if they said I was 19th man, I'd be smiling and feel like I was playing. And then, so I've gone in expecting to be 19th man. And it's weird because at the time, my dad wasn't allowed. I don't know why, but they didn't let him into the stadium because they couldn't get tickets. But he was in a car park at the stadium waiting for me, because obviously after the game he was going to take me home. So he's just watching on his phone. Obviously I knew this after. And then we've done the meeting and everything. At this point we still don't know the team. So, but I'm expecting to be 90th man. And then he's named the team. He said the goalkeeper, he'll start him. Then he said right back, Junior. I've literally looked up and then my hands were shaking. I was mad nervous. Like, I was scared. I was like shivering. It was crazy. And then that's when it actually sunk in, like, I'm starting on my debut. And I've just trained twice. I've only trained on the Thursday and the Friday. And I'm already starting in a league game as well. And like, I was actually like, I was myself. I can't say on his head. But yeah,
We'll beep it, you're fine.
I was so scared. And then obviously people like came to me and was like, you've got this, you're playing for a reason. And that kind of settled the nerves a bit. And yeah, got to kick off and walked out. I'm sure, like, if I had looked through like the Twitter comments, the replies to the squad, they would have been like, who the hell is number 38? And because I was like 16 at the time, I'd never been on the bench before. Obviously, my good friend Samson from Colchester, he'd been with the first team since maybe August. So they'd have never known who I was. But yeah, I was starting against Grimsby, and yeah, I had one coach, his name's Dave Huzzy. Like, the south stand in the stadium was obviously full of like the fans, but then everywhere was empty. And I looked to the right and there's just one coach, Dave Huzzy. He was just sat there with like headphones in, and he was talking to me on the pitch. But at the time, I'm like, just leave me alone. Like, there's already enough pressure on me. I'm nervous enough. I don't need you screaming in my ear. But nah, I think having him there, like, every time I do something, I look over, he'd put a thumbs up and stuff like that. So it kept me like calm, and then I just gradually grew into the game, and yeah, I was happy. And at that time, it was a manager, Steve Ball. Steve Ball, yeah. He gave me my debut. And
did you see the quotes afterwards? That he didn't sleep the night before. It was in the local paper that before he gave you your debut, he didn't want to tell you so you weren't nervous. So he didn't tell you, but he was that nervous because he was going to tell you that he didn't sleep the night before himself. So rather than you not sleeping, he didn't sleep.
I think I read something about it, but I don't know what I would have preferred, you know. I don't know if I would have wanted to know. No, but then, I think I'd keep it how it was. Cause I feel like if he had told me from the way I was when I knew, I'd have been worse, because I would have been like, I'm starting tomorrow. I would have put too much pressure on myself. So I feel like he did well to not tell me and kind of just surprise me, and because I've not got much time to think about it anyways. But now we ended up winning that game 2-1, and I played 90 minutes, so it was like a good debut for me and a great way to kind of like announce myself in professional football at Colchester especially.
What was that car ride back home with your dad?
I think he bought me McDonald's or something after. Yeah, he was so happy, but it made me happy to see him happy, if you know what I mean. And like, I got home, my mum made like a whole dinner and stuff like that, and that's when I properly knew how much them seeing their son like be happy and doing well meant to them. And that's why, like I said, I always like look to give back to them in any way I can, because how they felt for me was, I can't imagine how they felt, to be honest. And like seeing the smile on their face and how happy he was, and then just looking back, just 6 months ago, I was at no club and I'd just been released and stuff like that. It meant the whole world to them, and it meant the whole world to me. So everyone around me that were close to me, they knew the journey I'd just been on, how obviously getting released and how hard that was for me and my family. So like bouncing back that way was the best way I could have done it. And I'm sure people at Charlton will say now that they shouldn't, it was the wrong decision, but for me it was probably the best thing that happened to me, to be honest. Like, me getting released, I feel like if I hadn't, you can never tell, but I don't think I'd be in this position, if you ask me honestly. So I think that was the best thing that happened to me, getting released, to be honest.
I don't want to skip over all your time with Colchester too much, but I'm quite conscious because of me. We haven't spoken about Stoke as much yet, and we want to come on to that. But the one question I do want to ask you is, you've gone from being released at Charlton to going to Colchester, and within quite a short space of time, you're like did you ever play Football Manager? Did you play Football Manager much? Okay. So basically, if you play Football Manager, this a player known as the hot prospect. Do you know what I mean? Who everyone's going on about. And from the outside looking in, looking at the amount of articles about you, there's an athletic article about you at the time. You were the player that everyone was building up. What was it like to be 18 years old, let's say at the time, playing for Colchester? What was it like?
I feel like at that time, it's like I'm just solely focused on enjoying my football. I feel at that time it was probably my proper breakthrough season in professional football where I kind of established myself. This was probably, I think, would have been my kind of last season there. My last year that I spent at Colchester, and the first half of it, I feel like I was just like happy to be playing every week. And I feel like that's where confidence comes in. You're playing every week. The manager obviously believes in you. He trusts you. And yeah, obviously seeing those articles and like all those nominations and stuff you just have that kind of sense of pride. And like when I always, to be fair, good or bad, I always look back at where I come from, and that just gives me something that says like keep going, and like you're here for a reason, and there's a reason why you're here. And that's again one of those moments like when I see my name in the articles or I get nominated for these awards, like I've come a long way from like that young boy that got released to now. So there's more to come from me, and I always know that I've come a long way. So it's just kind of in my head, I just have like to keep going. And if this is happening now, the older I get, the more I can get as well. So it's good motivation for me, to be honest.
Before we talk about Stoke, I feel like I need to ask you one question on behalf of not just Stoke fans, but football fans all over the land over the age of 30. Rigobert Song, what's he like?
He's a character, to be fair. No, I like him a lot. Obviously, he gave me my national team debut, so he's calm, to be honest. Yeah, he's a funny character. But overall, he's just a calm, like collected person, and like humble, like easy to talk to and things like that. But he's very, very good guy.
Representing your country, obviously fantastic, and I'm sure it was a beautiful moment for all of your family. But if I'm seeing Rigobert Song, I'm talking to him about Premier League, I'm talking to him about West Ham, all these like massive clubs. I'd be like straight over to him about that.
I never really...
I'm like, we'll talk about Taxi in a second, but first of all, let's talk about this.
I never really like watched him play or watched his clips or anything. My dad will obviously know much more about him, but obviously I watched Alex Song, I think that's his cousin, so that's more who I was watching between them two. But no, it's like, obviously you see and hear about him in my household, obviously. So like being in front of him, being coached by him is obviously surreal. And that's obviously the same with like Samuel Eto'o. Like my dad used to always watch him, show me videos of him when I was younger and stuff like that. So to have met him, to speak to him, even like to have his number and stuff like that, it's like crazy. Whoa. To me,
that's a great little humble drop, that was. That you got Samuel Eto'o's number. Look at that. Most people would have just skimmed past that and not even appreciated it. Well, I love how you just dropped that one in.
No, but it is
just
true.
Is what it is, Rob. It is what it is.
Just little things like that. It's that surreal, to be honest. Because I never would have imagined that I'd like play under him basically, or even like have been that close to him. So to have done that is like a huge achievement for me.
International debut as well then. Wow.
For me, what made it the best thing is that because my family, everyone was already in Cameroon at that time. So they were all in Cameroon and I was obviously here training. So then I think they were actually supposed to fly back on the I don't know, was it the 17th the game was or the 19th?
I can't remember, one of the two.
One of them, but I know it was my mum's birthday. I think it was the 19th, which is my mum's birthday, and that was the day of the game. So they were meant to fly back before, I think maybe the 17th, but they extended it. Obviously, when they saw the game was on the 19th to maybe the 22nd or something. So all my family was there at the stadium watching me. And it was even better because I started the game and we won 3-0. And it was obviously at home in Cameroon. So, like, my mum brought all her family, my dad brought all his family. And it was just like, seeing them was like amazing. And that was the first time I'd been in Cameroon since I was 10, because that's the only time I've been in for actual holiday, for summer holidays. It was maybe like when I was in year 4. It was 2013. So to go back in that manner, like representing and playing for your country was like just crazy, and stuff like singing the national anthem in front of them. I was able to pick them out when obviously we come out, and it was just amazing. Like playing a full game, winning in front of them, it's just beautiful, man. And like I feel like if you ask my parents, maybe the proudest moment in my career, I think they'd say that, and I think I'd say that 100%. Like, I feel it's a different feeling representing your country, because obviously it's like actually the whole country, and I never properly understood it until I was a part of it, to be honest. And like playing for your country it's a different like kind of pride, and like I don't know, it's just crazy, to be honest.
Has football ever made you cry?
Apart from getting released, I'd say maybe that moment, actually, making my debut. Like, I thought after it, like, wow, like, you just played for your country. Like, it's a crazy feeling. I think that was probably the closest I've been to crying, to be honest. And
your family, obviously, very, very close. The way that you talk about them with so much love and affection. When was the last time, or when was the first time even, because you've been through so much, from those little things that you probably didn't think of at the time to where you are now, has there been a time when you've really celebrated what you've achieved so far? Apart from the meal, obviously, when you just done it.
Do you know what? I wouldn't really say it's been a time. Maybe one of the times I won an award, obviously at Colchester, I'd say then. But my dad's always been someone like, he'd always celebrate like the wins between us as a family, but he never wants to go like over the top, because his mentality is like, there's always more. There's always more to come. You can always do more. You can always do better. So I wouldn't go as far as to say like we celebrated and like they made it a big thing, but we like, I don't know, stay at home as just a family, and obviously play some music and just be happy, and like just all good vibes. But nothing ever really more than that, and I think I'd prefer it to be that way, because I think I've got that kind of mentality from my dad, where it's like you can always do more. There's more to come. If you've like got this now, you can always do better, and you can get better. So I'm actually grateful that we've never gone that over the top. I feel if we do go over the top, the moment that it is like, which I will go through like bad spells, and you don't want to dwell on that too much. So we always like to keep it kind of in the middle and not go over the top and not get too low, which I think is the best way to go about things.
Don't do that all the time, though. There's got to be some times when you enjoy yourself a little bit, because otherwise you'll be all done and you'll be like, oh, I should have enjoyed that more.
No, of course, I do understand that, but like I said, we will enjoy and like, you know, play music and have a nice, eat food and stuff like that, but never nothing too crazy.
Lavish.
Yeah,
fine. Let's talk about Stoke. It's quite famous in this podcast, by the way, to get a big chunk into it before we start talking about Stoke, so don't feel that it's any different to what usually happens. It's like our thing, basically. First time you walked into Stoke City, your thoughts?
Just thought, wow, to be honest. I remember it was the first time I walked into training ground was obviously deadline day. that day was, that's another story, to be honest, hectic.
Go on, we've got time.
Where do I start? On that specific day, I feel like I've gone into training, and then
At Colchester.
At Colchester, yeah. There it's a Friday, so they're obviously travelling for Warsaw, but I wasn't involved in that game. After they've travelled, I've gone home and like I don't know what's happening because I was living in like a little flat in Colchester, so I've just gone home by myself. Like I'm looking at my phone, waiting for it to ring, waiting for my agent to call me. And it's getting to a point where I've kind of like accepted that maybe it won't happen this that summer, that day. And then maybe around, I remember it was like 2 o'clock, 2:30, my agent calls me and says, have you ever driven to Stoke before? And I was like, no. It was like, you're gonna have to now. And I think that's the first time I ever did like a journey more than an hour, like driving. So I've just put it in Waze and I've gone to Asda, got petrol, then I've shut off. But at this point, he said to me, like, you could be driving there. When you get there, like, you have to drive back because nothing's been agreed. So it's obviously, you just got to hope for the best. But luckily, as I'm driving past the training ground, the director calls me and says, like, it's all been agreed. So I've obviously got out, said, like, kind of bye to everyone that was still there. Then made my way up. I've got to the training ground, I think it was around 6. Obviously, I had to drive another, an hour to Manchester for my medical. That was the longest MRI I've ever done before. Done that. Then I had to obviously drive back down, do like the media stuff and everything. And I think it was all done maybe, I don't know, I want to say 11:30 or 11:45. So just before the deadline it was done. And yeah, I was able to breathe finally and became a Stoke player. And the next day, obviously, came to the game. I think we played Preston. It was Preston that day, and just seeing the Championship stadium I was like, this is my chance it's my time to really kind of prove myself to everyone that I belong at this level. And I knew that I'd get opportunities, obviously not straight away because I'd just obviously signed, and we had Kiana who was ahead of me and he was playing well, so I just had to kind of abide my time and be patient and learn off him, and here we are now, I'm playing, enjoying myself. So this is a huge club. That was my first 4, and yeah, just want to keep doing well.
Best friends in the club? Who do you
Cliche.
gravitate to?
Okay, yeah, cool. I'm good with everyone, to be fair, actually, but I'd obviously say like Eric, Ryan, Vidi, Sol, Bolson, everyone, JT, funny guy, JT. But yeah, I'm good with everyone. Like, I get along with everyone well. Obviously, those are who I'd say I gravitate.
Because that's the thing, it's like no matter whatever workplace you're in, and I appreciate that was bordering on cliche, and you did call me out for it. But what I like to think is, like if I walked into one of the places I work at now, there's people you're going to speak to first. I'm not saying I don't get on with them,
no, exactly,
I just speak to them first.
Yeah, and those are probably the people I gravitate towards the most. So it's obviously, them, we sit, we talk like every day. I just enjoy ourselves every day because at the end of the day, that's what you have to do really in life.
When you get on the team coach, have you got a seat, or do you try and get to sit around people, in specific people?
I feel like we've all kind of got a seat now. I feel like it gets established. It was weird. I feel like at the beginning of the season, everyone just goes to a seat. Yeah. And then we just kind of keep that seat.
It's weird, isn't it? People are weird, aren't they, how they do stuff?
Like, we'll all go sit, and then pre-season is like, if you go from pre-season where everyone's sat, and you look at it now, it's like no one's kind of changed their seat, and that's just how it is really. So on my table would be like Eric, Bolson, Vidi's there, Ryan, and then obviously players that have been like injured, when they come back, that's when it gets a bit political because, you know, they say that they were sat there first and then end up having to do like the finger roulette game and stuff like that for the seat. But nah, it's fun, and obviously we all play like this card game that I've put everyone on now. Mehdi actually, Mehdi Larice, when he was here, he taught us this game, and now we just play it every...
What? I've not heard this game before. I feel like this is another Potter's Pod exclusive. Junior, take me through it.
I'm the worst at explaining stuff like this.
It's a
I
good
don't know
start.
if you heard of it. Yeah, no. I don't know if you heard of it. It's a game called Caboo.
Kaboo.
Yeah, Caboo. It's a good game, though.
Go on, you tell me about it while I have a little Google just to see if I notice
Cool.
something
So it's
different.
like, everyone's got 4 cards. And then, yeah, everyone's got 4 cards. So at the beginning, you could look at 2 cards, but you got to memorize where you place them cards. And then obviously, there's a card, there's a deck, and then a starter card. If you've got that card, you can play it. So the aim of the game is to essentially finish with the least amount of cards.
Yeah.
Or if you can finish with no cards, then you've won the game, basically. And then there's a jack. That means you can swap cards with anyone or swap 2 cards in the game. The queen means you can look at a card, any card, either your own or someone else's card. There's the king, either the heart or diamond. That's worth 0. But if you play that, that means you can give someone an additional card. And then, what else would there be in a deck?
I found it now. Cabo is also known as.
Yeah.
Kaboo. Who gets the most competitive?
Oh, do you know everyone?
Really?
Everyone.
Is that bad?
Yeah. Because everyone wants to win. Because we like add up the scores. We play like first to 100. So no one wants to get to 100, and then there will be like a few of the lads will get annoyed when like me or Eric will speak French and basically target someone because they don't understand. Like Bolson especially, he'll get annoyed when we try like target him and stuff like that. So they've banned us from speaking another language. But nah, it's all fun and games. But it does get competitive. But I like it when it gets competitive. It's a good game.
Has Victor Johansson got you onto Hitster yet?
No, what's
Has he
that?
not? I told you about this one. So Victor Johansson's dad bought me a copy of this game called Hitster, and it's basically like a music game. You got to work out when all the songs are released, and apparently in the Johansson household, again another exclusive. This is like the game to play. So next time you're speaking to Victor, just say, "Bring Hitster on the coach."
Hitster.
You'll like that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's good. Let's talk about the football side of it all. For you, whenever I think of you playing at your best, this is just an external person looking at it. It looks like when you are bombing down, you're enjoying yourself. It looks like you are just loving life at that point when you're really concentrating on your attacking game.
Yeah, I'd say that's the part obviously I enjoy the most, like going forward and joining in. I feel like I've always been like that. I probably get it from like I used to play like winger back in, like I was an attacker when I was younger. And then I got pushed back. But anyways, I feel that's where it comes from, just enjoying like being forward in the game. That's where like I can properly like express myself, and that's at the end of the day, that's what I want to do, like get into the final third, join in and help the team further forward. So I'd agree with you, to be honest, and say that's where I think I'm at my best, and like obviously running from deep and joining in. So that's where I obviously enjoy. I enjoy all parts of the game, but that's the most enjoyable for me.
Borderline cliche question, but it's not. Where do you think you've improved the most since you joined the club?
Good question.
But not cliche.
No cliche, no. I'd say for me, when I look at myself from my first season, obviously last season, compared to, let's say, now, I feel like the biggest thing for me is, I'd say my understanding, my game understanding. on the pitch is probably the biggest thing for me. Like, I now understand where to be kind of when we've got the ball, when we've not got the ball. And I feel like that was the biggest thing for me I had to improve. Because I feel like that's something from the outside looking in, you might not be able to tell. But as us playing on the pitch, I can fully see the difference in my game. Like, if I was to get a game from last season where I've played and one from this season, I feel like you'd see huge differences in, like, off the ball, like positioning and stuff like that, and my awareness and stuff like that. That distances between, like, me and the centre back, and I feel like that's improved a lot. So there's still more room for improvement in those areas and in my game overall. But I feel like that's, for me personally, when I like analyse my game, that's something I think I've improved a lot.
Potentially vulnerable question, but I get the feeling that you'll give this the respect it deserves. If I were to ring your dad now and say, where do you think Junior needs to get better, what do you think he'd say?
I think he would say, like, end product, which I think is something that I can get better at, I believe, anyways. But yeah, like final third, end product. So that's like crossing, even if it's shooting and stuff like that. I do think that's something I can get better at. And I think he'd say that as well.
Who have you learned from the most?
At the
club? At the club.
Honestly, I wouldn't say I've, like, watched their game and, like, said, I can learn from that. But to change your question, be like, if there's someone that I'd say, like, helps me or, like, speaks to me about my game, I'd say Wouter Burger a lot. Like, he wants to obviously help me improve a lot. And Lewis Baker. I think those two are the people that I'd say they're always, like, on me to be better than I am, like, whether that's training or in games. They always want me to be better, and obviously I appreciate that as a younger player. I'm playing with them. And obviously Bergs, he's not much older than me, but, like, you can tell how, like, he's got that leadership quality and how much he wants to help, because he doesn't really have to, if you know what I mean, like, try and help me, but he's willing to, and that just makes him obviously a better person completely.
And what's Mark Robins been like since he's come in?
Yeah, I've enjoyed working on him a lot, to be honest. He's just a calm manager. Yeah, but I've enjoyed working under him a lot.
Very dry.
I don't know if I'll say that.
No, I don't mean that like, when he came in, he's obviously done the podcast.
Yeah.
And brilliant bloke, but, like, his sense of humour, he's more than happy to have a laugh, but his delivery is very dry.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But you said it, not me.
That's fine.
Yeah,
it'll be okay. We'll be fine.
Yeah, I'd say that. I agree. I disagree.
Yeah, right. You're wimping out of that one. I don't like that at all. When we talk about Stoke City and everything that's happening at this moment in time, my question to you would be, if you were looking at the club now, what do you think is the most exciting thing that's happening at Stoke City?
For me personally, it's like where we know we can go and the actual direction that we're heading in. I feel like it's something to be, like, excited about. Obviously, the on the field stuff will get taken care of by us as players, and obviously the coach and stuff. But for me, once that's obviously taken care of, I feel like the direction that the club will go in is something to be excited of.
I've only got two more questions for you. One, you mentioned earlier on about your faith and your religion being important to you. How does that help you on a day-to-day basis?
It helps me massively every day. Just to help me stay, like, grounded and even appreciative of all the things I've got now. And it helps me stay humble. And when things are going well, or even when they're not going well, like, I like to pray to God, and He gives me guidance. I believe He protects me, and when I, like, get onto the pitch, and it's that's one of the most important factors in my life, not even in football, but in my life overall and in all my family's life. So it's a huge thing for me, and it's something that I need to make sure I always like kind of stay on top of. And yeah, I just feel really blessed to have that in my life, to be honest.
Final thing. Now, we usually end with a game called Love It or Leave It, which is like, I give you a different load of subject. Oh, obviously, you listen to the podcast, you know exactly what it is. But I feel that this has been a bit more of a deeper conversation, and I feel that you'll appreciate this next question, because I wouldn't say it's spiritual, but it's more of a deeper thinker question, and I think that you'll appreciate this one a little bit more, if that's okay, Junior. Right? So this is a big compliment I'm paying to you now, because I think you'll be all right with this one. All the people that you've ever met in your entire life are in one giant room. Right, you walk in with your mum, your dad, you like your close family. Everyone you've ever met, who'd you go to first? Dead or alive?
I'll say one person. This is just because like I feel like he was a mentor to me in football, and I feel like he actually helped me a lot more than he realizes. Is someone called Luke Chambers. When I was at Colchester with him, like he was a proper mentor to me, and he guided me like on and off the pitch at Colchester. I still speak to him to this day, so I'd say him. I'd say him.
Ex Nottingham Forest, Ipswich centre back as well.
Yeah.
Why him? Why is he so special to you?
I just feel like in the position I was at Colchester, he was coming kind of towards the end of his career, but the way he like took me under his wing, and like he'd make sure that I kept on top of everything. Like at times, like he'd speak to me and I'd think like, just like leave me alone. But when I look back at it, like he was a big reason why I feel like I performed well at Colchester. I think if you asked him, he'd say like, nah, it was all me, whatever. But I don't think he realizes how much of a like positive impact he had on my career.
It's a big compliment, that is.
It is, yeah. And obviously, there's loads of people who I could have said. There's loads of people who have obviously been there before him, but in that kind of pivotal point of my career, I feel like he was up there with one of the most important people.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me on.